Hi, welcome again to the Beer Temple. I am Chris Quinn and I am with my wife, yet again, Margaret Quinn.
Hello.
And we are going to get right into it here. We've got another one of our collaborations, not our collaboration necessarily, with Stone, where they do kind of the three-way thing. They've done a whole bunch of these. I think it's a really great idea. The first that we had from them, I think, was the Green Tea IPA, which was pretty interesting and cool. And this one here is the More Brown Than Black IPA. And there's a really cool story behind this one. This was collaborated with Ninkasi Brewery and The Alchemist. And I think the interesting part of the story comes from the Alchemist side of it. So, Black IPA, we had a show on them. Some call it Cascadian Dark Ale, India Black Ale, American Black Ale. There's a million different names for this thing. I just call it Black IPA. Stone has maybe the most well-known and almost like the benchmark for the style, the Sublimely Self-Righteous, which we've had on the show and I personally love and think is one of the better Black IPAs out there.
Right.
One of the best Black IPAs out there. And also was really what kind of put the style on the map for a lot of people. The first kind of big release of the Black IPA. One of the first times I can remember hearing that term was maybe not the first, but one of the big ones, you know, was when they first released it. But this guy at The Alchemist was working at a place called the Vermont Brew Pub when the original, what is now considered to be the first Black IPA was ever brewed, way back in the mid-90s. Now, he wasn't the brewer necessarily. He wasn't the head brewer. That guy's actually passed away. But he was working with him, and now he's moved on to another Vermont brewery. And he helped collaborate on this. So, yeah, these Black IPAs have been around for a while. I'm a big fan of Alpha Claus, which is really an early predecessor to the Black IPA as well. They call it a Christmas Porter.
Right.
Nowadays, that would be called probably a Black IPA.
Right.
And I've always loved that beer as well.
Yeah.
And then they have Ninkasi, which is up in Eugene,
Oregon.
Yeah. Don't know too much about them. I don't know if you did any research. I didn't.
It's a relatively new brewery. They started back in 2006. Two guys who were, you know, home brewing and of course kind of blew up as the story usually goes. I always just get confused by their name, Ninkasi, because I always think it's a Japanese beer or an Asian beer of some sort. But they are located in Oregon. And I think the name is sort of a homage to one of the co-founders' last name. It's you know, kind of it's a little reminiscent of that. So that could be why.
So it's cool that you've got one of the biggest Black IPAs being made now, collaborating with you know, another Pacific Northwest brewer, and then also one of the early creators of the Black IPA. And in fact, the recipe for Sublimely Self-Righteous was conceived of after they tasted the Black Watch IPA, which was the name of the first IPA at a beer festival.
Wow. Yeah,
they tasted it the year before, and the head brewer at Stone has pretty much said that that was his inspiration for Sublimely Self-Righteous.
Cool.
You know, maybe not a direct recipe clone, but, you know, inspiration.
Right.
Certainly brown, but it's
would you say it's more brown than black?
No, I'd say it's more black than brown.
I wouldn't. I would say it's more brown than black. I agree with the brewers of this beer. To me, it's definitely a dark brown. It's a mahogany brown.
It's kind of like the color of the Yakima Glory.
Yeah, yeah. And it looks a little lighter in body than I would have expected.
And an interesting head to it. Really big foamy bubbles on both of ours.
Looks like milk.
Yeah, or like kind of soap suds, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's give it a sniff.
So for me, you know, hops, piney.
You're getting that chocolatey malt in the background as well.
I'm getting something else in here.
For sure. I'm getting like a woody, cedary flavor to it.
I was gonna say medicinal. I think cedar could be, you know, perceived as a bit medicinal. Like a eucalyptus cedar note to it. Yeah, definitely eucalyptus.
Yeah, and I'm also getting a nice chocolatey roast underneath it, but like a nice milk chocolate roast. And of course, you are getting that Pacific Northwest hop flavor profile as well. You are getting a little bit into the tropical side of things.
Man, now that I've said eucalyptus, that's pretty much all I can smell.
You said it.
You said it. You said it. I said medicinal.
You repeated it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good though. It's an interesting nose. I can't really recall the last time I had a beer that necessarily smelled like this. It's got it's really kind of all over the place with it. I'm not sure how harmonized that is.
Right.
But
yeah, let's give it a taste, and that's one way to find out.
Yeah.
You're really swishing that around this time.
Well.
So the mouthfeel is very thin. Yeah, you know, very light in the mouth. Bitterness. Let me take another taste.
Okay, so when I'm tasting it, the first thing I'm getting are a lot of those really green hop flavors. A lot of that, not vegetal, but you know,
herbaceous,
bordering on vegetal hop flavors. I'm not getting a lot of that same. I'm getting a little bit of the medicinal, a little bit of that eucalyptus. I'm not really getting any of the tropical. I'm not getting at first any of that milk chocolate either. It washes away. There isn't a lot of that malt backbone, which is the same with Sublime Self-Righteous, to be fair. And then finally, I'm getting some bitterness, and then finally, I get a hint of that roast on the back end.
That's true.
Just at the end.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think like when you kind of breathe in after taking the sip, you do get some of that roast. That is definitely the last thing left in your mouth is that little bit of roast. And bitterness for me as well. That's a big player in this.
And you're getting that weird kind of leafy flavor to it.
See, I just did get a hit of the eucalyptus.
No, I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you do. I don't think you get any of that tropic. I'm not really getting that cedary aspect to it. I'm getting that eucalyptus and like a green leafy flavor to it. I'm not getting the same roast that I got in the nose, which is a little bit surprising. And it wasn't really, it was more like a chocolatey flavor than a true roast. Yeah, it's good. I personally would want a little bit more in terms of age. You know, let me see how old this beer is. It's pretty fresh beer. It's you know, certainly under 2 months old.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll have to look exactly on what the age is. I don't know, but it's a fresh IPA.
You could post that as a comment later once we figure that out.
Yeah. Good, but you know, these beers are also not cheap. You know, these run you you buy them singularly in 12-ounce bottles. Would I buy another bottle of this? I don't know. What would I rate it? I'd give it a. I'm kind of trying to decide if I'm gonna put it in the 90s, but
I'm not.
Yeah.
My decision is easy on that. Let's see. I'll go 88.
Yeah, I was thinking 89 or 90.
It's good, but I think you're exactly right. Would I go seek this out again? No. I mean, I think one bottle just to have a sip is fine.
It's interesting. I mean, the nose is kind of interesting. Like I was saying before, it's not quite in harmony for me. There's a lot of different things. They seem a little discordant. Whatever. I'm not going to try to say it again. I'll only get it worse. So, yeah. Fine beer. Not anything amazing. I would have liked a little bit more from two what you would think would be heavy hitters of the style, but certainly not a bad beer. Maybe more of a disappointing beer than a bad beer. Yeah, so I'll go 89. I'm certainly not going to complain, and I am going to finish the beer. So yeah, but that's about it. 7.5% alcohol. So. Yeah, there you go. If you see it and want to try something a little bit different, or maybe have some a historical tie to what is really one of the newest styles and doesn't really have much history to it, you can check it out and see if you agree with us. You know, I mean, to each their own, certainly. But until then, please keep the comments and the reviews on iTunes coming, and I always appreciate that. We've climbed back up. Rocketed up there pretty quickly.
Clawed
our way back up there on the rankings. So thank you for that. And if you have any questions in general about beer, I always kind of like that you can email them or post them as comments or even just tweet them to me. People have done that too. But until next time, we got some really great episodes coming up. We have got some cool beers that have just been released that we're going to do. We're going to do the Dogfish Head Noble Rot for you guys who are looking to find out about where beer and other types of drinks meet, maybe. And we've also got the barley wine episode coming up, and I've got a surprise show for Margaret coming up as well. So some good stuff in store for you guys. So you'll definitely want to check those out. But until then, we've got some Cascadian brown ale to drink.
Black IPA.
Brown, more brown than
More
black.
brown than black. Brown IPA.
Hopefully you do too, guys. Have a good one.